In a small town in New England, there's an old cemetery known as Hollow Hill, hidden behind a thicket of gnarled trees. Decades ago, it was tended by a quiet, brooding gravedigger named William. Though diligent, William was often mistreated by the townsfolk, who regarded him with suspicion and called him cursed. He eventually passed under mysterious circumstances and was buried in the very cemetery he maintained, in an unmarked grave. Not long after his burial, strange things began to happen. Visitors reported seeing a shadowy figure digging late at night, his shovel scraping against the soil in the eerie silence. Some who dared approach said they felt a chilling hand grip their shoulder, pulling them toward the ground. Years later, one daring group of teens tried to find William's grave and dig it up as part of a dare. But as their shovels hit something hard, they were horrified to find a skeletal hand rising from the dirt to clutch at them. The last one to leave swore he heard a whisper, "Now, dig your own grave." The cemetery has been abandoned since, and townsfolk say that on quiet nights, you can still hear the sound of digging. St. Mary's Cemetery in southern Louisiana has long had a reputation for tragedy. The story goes that in the 1800s, a young woman named Elise, heartbroken by the death of her fiancé in the war, died of grief shortly after his burial. She was laid to rest beside him, and a large, sorrowful angel statue was placed over her grave to mark her eternal mourning. Locals claim that Elise's spirit never left her lover's side. At midnight, visitors report hearing a soft, mournful sobbing echoing through the cemetery, seeming to come from the angel statue itself. Brave souls who have gone to investigate found a thin trail of tears running down the statue's face, pooling at the base. Those who dared to touch the statue's tears found their hands wet and cold, and the overwhelming sadness drove some into days of melancholy. Some people say Elise appears as a ghostly figure, clad in a pale wedding dress, wandering the cemetery and reaching out for her lost love. Others have felt a gentle, icy hand brush their cheek, as if she's still searching, heartbroken and forever grieving. Gray Hollow Cemetery is known for its strange ghost light, a glowing lantern seen drifting slowly through the rows of tombstones. Legend has it that in the early 1900s, a man named Edgar, the night watchman, was responsible for protecting the cemetery from vandals. He carried a lantern and was known for his kind heart, often bringing flowers to graves that had been forgotten. One stormy night, Edgar vanished without a trace. Some say he slipped into a freshly dug grave that flooded in the rain. Others believe he was taken by a restless spirit. His lantern was found extinguished by the cemetery gates, but his body was never recovered. Shortly afterward, people began spotting the dim glow of Edgar's lantern moving along the cemetery paths late at night. When people would try to approach, the light would flicker and vanish, only to reappear on the opposite end of the cemetery. Some unlucky visitors have heard footsteps behind them, and if they turned around, they found themselves face to face with a shadowy figure holding a lantern, whispering, "Leave these graves in peace, or join them." To this day, if you're unlucky enough to encounter the Lantern Man, it's said you're marked, doomed to see his ghostly light in every dark place you pass.